Good morning. I'm Reverend Judy Anderson, and once again, it's my privilege and my joy to welcome you to the Center for Spiritual Living Red Deer and our Sunday morning celebration of life and love. And I just saw someone I haven't seen for a long time. So, and if you're watching us online, hugs to you too. And thank you for being with us. Let's begin by reading our opening affirmation together. Today, all things are made new. In this space of freshness and grace, I resolve to live each moment with an attitude of delight and wonder. The world around me is beautiful. All of creation is beautiful, and I am one with it. I feel truly and totally blessed, and so it is. Now, we've got a couple of announcements. We've got our annual general meeting coming up next Sunday, and that will be in person only. It will not be by Zoom. So if you possibly can, show up next Sunday for our AGM. It'll be held immediately after the service, and it's usually done in a half, 3/4 of an hour. And a big part of that is we're looking for new board members. If you think you'd be willing to serve on the Board of Trustees, you might consult Diane, Karen, or Janice have served on the board, Russ Phillips is on the board, or you could talk to Reverend Truss or myself, see if that might work for you. The meetings are only once a month after a Sunday service, often on the third Sunday of the month. It's not really a lot of time commitment. So if you are inspired to join the board, thank you. Now Lou Clark has something to tell us.
Good morning, everyone. It's so nice to be able to see people in person again. It's wonderful. Gordon and I are pretty excited. We are going to facilitate a course happening next month. And thank you, Reverend Joanne. We want to focus on the abundance book, since for so many right now, abundance is pretty, not quite there, not as much as they would like. So we, oh yeah, that's the book.
A little abundance book.
Yeah.
A whole $10.
Yeah, and it's very, very easy reading. One of the first books I read that I highly recommend. It's really great. So I do have a sign-up sheet that I will leave out there. The course is $50. It's only 4 weeks, and the cost includes the book. If you already have the book, talk to me later, and we'll see if we can fix that for you. Thank you very much. I hope to see everyone there.
Thank you, Lou. Practitioner interns Lou Clark and Gord Hemmelgarn, and I'll probably be there sitting in the office doing something on the computer too, so if they want to call me in, I'll be available. All right, our next thing is our word for our Growing Spirits Circle. So any of you who have children at home, or those of you who are watching may want to know, and children come in a variety of sizes. Some of them are about this tall. And the word for today is givingness. It is the nature of God to give, and we practice giving it to bring ourselves closer to God and bring ourselves into alignment with that giving flow. If you want to have a friend, you must be a friend. Whatever it is that we want, that is what we must give. Got that? Whatever it is that we want, that is what we must give. Whatever we give, we receive, pressed down and flowing over. That was the promise in the Bible. Bring your tithes into the barn, and you will be returned, pressed down and overflowing. That is how givingness works. So thank you for being with me for that. And we won't delay anymore. I'm going to introduce our beautiful speaker of the day, Reverend Joanne Boruck. And our theme for the month, of course, is Living Everyday Wonder, Play. And her title is Resting in the One. Reverend Joanne.
Thank you, Reverend Judy.
We can do this again.
Yay. Oh, well, I know my speaker's on because I turned it on because I have my little thing behind me. And then I realized I was interacting with Judy, so I left, had a conversation with Wendy. So, good morning. Oh, this is even better. It says, "Good morning, divine beings." Yay. And I just want to say this morning, peace. Be still and know. I am Reverend Joanne Faith, and I'm so honored to be at the Center for Spiritual Living in Red Deer today. And I thank you for joining us online and all those in person. I love to see faces, because today we're going to expand on our understanding of the blessing of resting in the One. So please join me in an opening affirmative prayer. In the oneness of humanity, there is peace, power, purpose. There is God. The goodness of God stands in the pillars of truth and faith. And I declare that as we are all one with humanity, we are called to stand in the pillars of truth and faith. I trust this is the truth for all who claim it. I choose to rest in the stillness. I choose to rest in faith and trust. I choose to rest in the oneness. I choose to rest in the One. With great gratitude for the wonder of it all, for the busyness and the restfulness, I am grateful. I embrace them equally and fully, and I release this into the love and law of the one mind, of the One, and it is done. And together we state, and so it is. So you can't tell it, but happy spring equinox. Or as Sitting Bull says, "Behold, my friends, the spring has come. The earth has gladly received the embrace of the sun, and we shall soon see the results of their love." Oh, Sitting Bull. Behold, my friends, the spring has come. I just have to say it to remind myself. The earth has gladly received the embraces of the sun, and we shall soon see the results of their love. So there couldn't be a better time than right now to plant new seeds of practice, of spiritual practice. And this morning we're going to discover some different ways of resting, which you might not have thought about before. Resting in the One. The One being the oneness of all. The oneness within and without. Ourselves. Resting with ourselves with no expectation and no predetermined outcome. You know, at the center we practice science of mind. But today I want to embrace a new idea. And you hear it a lot. It's called your mind-body. So we talk about body, mind, and spirit. Today I'm going to combine those, the body, mind, and the spirit, as today we embrace the science of body, mind. And since there's no coincidences and everything's preordained, it's absolutely no surprise that Reverend Valentine said, "Can you do the talk on March 20th? None of us knew what it was. So I opened it and I just laughed out loud. The title was called, "I'll Rest When I'm Dead." And of course I changed it to Resting in the One. But you see, that's something that if anybody knows me and they know my life and how busy I am, they say to me, "How do you do it all? When do you rest?" And I used to say, "I'll rest when I'm dead." But I'm not doing that anymore. And I have to tell you, I had this friend that worked at the City of Lacombe with me, and her name was Pat Carrere. And she was on every committee, chair of most of them, and I was on some committees with her. And people used to say that to her. how do you do it all? When do you rest? And she said, I'll rest when I'm dead. And really, up until I started reading the footnotes for this talk, I wore that as a badge of honor. And I have to tell you that Pat Carrere passed away quite a long time ago, probably with a whole bunch of committees still in her inbox. So I really came to think that maybe I'll rest when I'm dead was a self-fulfilling prophecy. And I'm not telling you that to scare you. I'm telling you that to remind me that I don't want to live that life. I want to wake me up. And maybe I want to wake you up too. Are you busy beyond rest? So resting in the one, it's a really strong, simple statement. Resting in the one is the absolute way to heal, to listen, and to ask for guidance. Body, mind. It requires work. It requires rest, and it requires sleep. And I have to remind you that resting is a thing on its own. When we think of work, rest, sleep, well, maybe if you sit at a desk all day or you have a sedentary job, you think, oh, I'm resting at work. No. Or maybe when you go to sleep at night, you think, well, I'm resting when I'm sleeping. No. Your mind is still pretty active. Resting in the one is being awake and being aware. And I don't think there's any one single way, but I thought there's 3 benefits to resting in the one, because it's 3 experiences. It's a spiritual experience, and it's a physical experience. But when I was doing my research, I found there's even scientific proof how good it is for you. So it's a scientific experience. Resting in the one. First, we'll start with the spiritual experience. Ernest Holmes wrote, spiritual experience comes in the stillness of the soul, when the outer voice is quiet. It's a quickening of the inner being to eternal reality. It can only be discovered through the path of sacred stillness, which sustained rest allows. In this stillness, we are opening to truth, which appears as intuition and sacred knowledge, and a deep yes to all that is good. It brings us to a peace that passes understanding, and it empowers us to be a beneficial presence to all whom we meet. That's pretty deep. And so to restate that, spirituality, resting in the one, allows us to listen to our intuition. And it allows us to be empowered to be an example to others. Did I mention that everything happens for a reason? Well, I had another example. You see, the minister in Saskatoon, Reverend Kathy, and I, we've been meeting once a week to elevate our own consciousness, and we've been reading books. Right now, we're reading The Art of Meditation with Joel Goldsmith. And I read a profound statement on Monday. I'm always highlighting, oh, that's a good title for a talk. That's a good title. So Joel Goldsmith says, in that moment of silence, we begin to understand that the divine mind or cosmic consciousness is an infinite intelligence imbued with love. And it functions as our being when conscious thinking has been stilled. Now, he was referring to a communion with your inner self. And just as a footnote, Joel Goldsmith says, meditation is not for the purpose of bringing anything into your life. Meditation is for the purpose, he calls it, of using a cleaver and removing everything from your life that's not relevant, that you don't need, that's not truth, and all that's left is oneness. Resting in the one, communion with the self. So life's not about having more, it's about needing less. I think I've heard that before. And not to be outdone, resting in the oneness is also a physical experience. And Thich Nhat Hanh wrote, it's very important that we learn the art of resting and relaxing. Not only does it prevent the onset of many illnesses that develop through chronic tension and worry, it allows us to clear our minds and find creative solutions to our problems. We humans have lost the wisdom of genuinely relaxing and resting. We worry too much, we don't allow our bodies to heal, and we don't allow our minds and hearts to heal. He wrote that 50 years ago. I think we still are going around trying to figure that out. So I just want to restate that. The physical benefits of rest include a healthier heart, weight control, improved athletic ability, sharper brain function, better mood, balanced blood sugar, and an immune boost. All that from just resting. And that's part of the work. Work, rest, and sleep. And again, it doesn't encompass the physical inactivity that you experience when you're working or sleeping. This rest is a conscious choice to be still and know. There's this phrase that says, "Be still and know I am God." And some people are intrepid to use that word because they think, who am I to say I'm God? Well, to me it means be still and know that the I in you is God. And Deepak has a new saying for that. He says, instead of be still and know I am God, how about be still and know who you are? Maybe in physical stillness, you could ask yourself that. Who am I? And really emphasize the importance of just being. But the most profound benefit I found was a scientific study done on the vagus nerve. So the science of resting in the one kind of brought it all together for me. Resting in the one, body, mind, and spirit. So the vagus nerve is the longest nerve in your body. It stems from your brainstem and goes all through your body and all your organs, and it gathers information and transmits it back to you. But you can only hear the message in stillness. And it functions at its optimum when we stop and rest and are mindful. Then it scans the body and sends you all kinds of information, and not just information that's media fed, and not just information that maybe your mother, your teacher, or somebody outside of you told you. It tells you your own truth. The things that your body, mind, and spirit need to hear. It lowers the stress hormone and has been called the love nerve because when it's active and toned, you are more loving. It was always there. It's always there. But we can tone it and we can stimulate it to release stress and to help us move forward in life. And there's a couple of ways that I'll tell you about in a minute. But Dr. Glenn Doyle was one of the researchers, and he put it this way. He says, when you stimulate the vagus nerve, you're tapping into mindfulness and coming home to yourself when you do. Resting in the one. One way to stimulate your vagus nerve is through voice. Now, in the Eastern Bloc countries, they do mantras all the time. When they do a meditation, they don't really, go into this field and relax your body. They just chant a certain mantra. In our Western country, we sing and we hum and maybe we even om. But I believe science of mind is the path. It's the path to a healthy vagus nerve because some of the things they say increase your vagus nerve stimulation are totally science of mind thoughts. And some of them have a strong community connection. So if you're still at home, I don't want to point at you, but you wouldn't believe the love in this room. So some Sunday, just get up and feel it. Come and join us. Of course, you can sing or hum or chant. You can do mindful meditations or loving kindness meditations and do affirmations and speak positive talk. Now that sounds really familiar to me. The Centers for Spiritual Living have taken that one step further by giving you one more tool we call affirmative prayer, a spiritual mind treatment. And as we progress in consciousness, we can now expand that to a spiritual body-mind treatment, which we affirm that our body is always toned, our vagus nerve is active, and I am so encouraged to hear that science is studying the vagal tone and has found one more connection between science and deep, deep spirituality. The veil's getting thinner, and the world's becoming aware of science of mind in a whole new way. And I usually, when I'm really happy, I say, woohoo! And now I mentioned there's a couple of practices you can do to stimulate your vagus nerve. And there's some you can just do in one instant. And I know you've heard it a million times. Take a deep breath. But this taking a deep breath involves mindfulness. So I just ask you right now, let's just do that. Put your hand on your heart if you want and feel the warmth. And breathe into your heart center. And expand your heart. And release. Now I have to tell you that the two physical ways to quickly relax your body is to release your tongue from the roof of your mouth or the back of your teeth. Just allow your tongue to float in the bottom of your mouth. It releases all the tension in your jaw and neck, and drop your shoulders. And now take a deep breath in and out. And in and out. But now this time as we breathe out, let's bring the second part of that, the sound. Now some of you might just be happy with a sigh like, and others might want to hum. And others, like Reverend Judy, might want to Om. So right now, collectively, let's take a deep breath in here in that home and release that with a sound. And you have just stimulated your vagus nerve and released some serious endorphins into your system. Now the second one's a little more hands-on. And I have to tell you, I was sitting with my granddaughter last week, and her guy she lives with is a psychologist, and he works with a lot of children in the system. And so when I told him I was just studying the vagus nerve, it just like blew me away. He goes, oh yeah, we do those with those young kids all the time. And so he was telling me this exercise. It's called the half salamander. And I think you might more relate to it as something called brain gym. So the first thing in the half salamander is you turn your eyes to the left as far as they'll go, and then turn your head to the left. And he has them hold that for like 60 seconds, and then bring it back to center. And then turn your eyes to the right as far as you can, and tilt your head to the right. And then bring it back to center. He also said it's very beneficial to turn your eyes to the right and turn your head to the left, and do the opposite, turn your eyes to the left and turn your head to the right. So I was telling Brenda about it, and she said, well, you should hand it out. But I think I'd like you guys to just look it up or just do it. And I think it's the same, like in Brain Gym, they're talking about activating your left and right brain. And you might be wondering why I brought those exercises when I'm talking about resting in the one. And I'm doing it because the vagus nerve needs to be tuned in to speak your message, and it only happens in rest. These exercises energize you as well as keep you in touch with your body, mind, and emotions. This week, with the sacred wonder of peace in your heart, resting in the one, explore the ways in which you can sink into the bliss of sustained rest. Schedule it and hold it sacred because you're worth it. So there's a couple of questions, just one question that's kind of long. How will you incorporate a few minutes of resting in the One in your day? When you first wake up in the morning, before your feet hit the ground? Before opening your car door, when you reach your destination? Or while waiting for a friend or an appointment? Or on and on. And I just ask you to go in peace. Go in peace. Go in kindness. Go in love. Go in faith. Leave the day behind us. Day is done. Go in grace. Let us go into the dark, not afraid and not alone. Let us hope by some good pleasure to arrive safely home. Let us hope by some good pleasure to arrive safely home. That's a song, Sam Baker song, if you want to look it up. So as we leave this sacred place, let us be aware and awake of our body-mind to the spiritual connections found in resting in the One. I declare and know there is one life, one mind, one God. And when I am still and know, I enter into the quiet stillness of healing, understanding, and love expresses through me as me. With great gratitude for the wisdom and the knowledge that this teaching has to offer, I release this into the all-knowing One, and it is done. And so it is. I am Reverend Joanne Faith, and I claim for myself, for each of us, that love and peace are our true essence. So I share my love and peace with you, because love lives here, and I have plenty to share, plenty to spare. Have a beautiful spring. Thank you.
Thank you, Reverend Joanne.
Thank you, Reverend Tress. I'm shutting me off so I don't go talk
Oh
to
dear. It was a beautiful lesson today. Now, if you would like to repeat with me, it is inside of your bulletin, and it is the prosperity affirmation. The nature of our universe is abundance, and so I know that my world and each individual life partakes of that bounty to the extent that we believe and accept it. I make the choice to believe deeply and receive freely. I give freely to, and I prosper in all things, and so it is. And just a reminder, please, if you have not filled out a 2022 membership form, please do so. We do need a new one each year, and it's just wonderful to have a membership and to have new people as our members. And if you will join with me in the closing. I go about my daily affairs knowing that God is good, and so am I. I partake wisely and joyously of all good. I know that the truth of my being is spirit, and spirit speaks from that sweet, sacred place within. I live from that place, from the divine of me. Life is truly wonderful, and so it is. And one more thing, please join us if you wish for refreshments after the service. And have a great week, everyone. Bye, everybody.